This was such a long time ago. I'm a junior now. It felt so close though, guys. Um, when I was a high school senior in my high school, University Prep Charter High School. Fun fact: me and Ariel came from the same high school. My technology professor and my vice principal were alumni of University of Rochester, and they looked at me and they said, "Stephen, we see you in University of Rochester." And I was just like, what's University of Rochester? I've never heard of this school. And they were like, oh, they were talking to themselves and they were like, oh no, we gotta take him, we gotta take him. And I was just like, what is going on? I'm scared, guys. And they then spring of my senior year, no, actually this was my junior year. So junior in high school, they took me up to University of Rochester. They actually showed me around the campus and they would talk about the things they used to do. They were class of 2000. So I'm pretty sure even 18 years later, they were still surprised to see all the changes in U of R, but they were just saying like, this is definitely a place we can see you in. We can see you grow and cultivate yourself even more. And like when we were here, the Latinos would be just a small group at that time, but ever since then it's been growing ever since, and we've been keeping in touch with all the wonderful people from our year and have a great connection there. And they were really selling the pitch to me about U of R. So I was like, okay, okay, I'm liking U of R, I'm liking it. And I applied to it. I've been in a couple like meetings where even U of R showed up to my school, and yeah, I was just, it was the mentorship from those two people in my high school that really like pushed me more to go to U of R. And without that, I probably wouldn't even have been in U of R. Like I really appreciate them pushing me towards it. I'm just gonna pass it on to Elizabeth. Why'd you go to U of R?
So basically, the reason why I am here at U of R is that I was randomly like searching for colleges that had microbiology majors, and when I was reading about U of R, I was instantly in love with the open curriculum it has. Like the majors, minors, clusters, like it has so many options for you to learn and to give opportunity to learn things that maybe you were not interested in them before, but now that you're learning it, you're now more interested. So U of R has a lot of extracurriculars. Right now I'm at PRSO, which I'm later I'm going to is. I'm really motivated because I'm having like a lot of opportunities to learn. So for people that are here, los puertorriqueños, mexicanos, todos, de verdad los motivo a que soliciten a U of R y a que vengan para acá porque de verdad es una oportunidad que no se van a arrepentir. La universidad es espectacular y ofrece muchísimas oportunidades.
Hi guys. So yeah, I'm a senior, so it's also been a long time since I thought about, coming to U of R. But much like Steven, I really didn't know about the University of Rochester till my senior year. And I just happened to be checking my emails and I got an email from the university and I checked it out. I saw that they had biomedical engineering, which is something that I was really interested in. So I was like, oh, that's really great. So I started checking into it further and eventually I applied and then I got like an interview. So I actually came up here like January of my senior year for my interview, and I stayed with a host in her dorm. She was a senior at the time, so she was really helpful to me. She told me like everything I need to know. She answered all my questions. She took me around the whole campus. It was snowing and everything. Like it was such a shock for me because I'm from Nashville, so I was not used to it. But everybody was so nice, and I think that's the main thing that like drove me to choose the University of Rochester because I saw that like everybody, even though I wasn't a student and they didn't know me, they were all so helpful, helped me get around the campus, like telling me everything that I needed to know, like just being very like inclusive. And I thought that was really nice. And yeah, that's like the main reason why I was like, oh, people are really friendly here. Like, yeah, I really want to come here. And, it turned out to be true. Like when I started my classes my freshman year, like there wasn't much of a sense of like competition. It was more like collaborative, and that's what I really really liked. That like everyone here is like helping each other grow and learn, and we're all just in this together.
My turn. For me, my story is kind of like similar to Steven's. I'm an immigrant. I was born in Ecuador, and I moved to the Bronx with my parents and my brothers. I'm a first generation student. So when it came time to like to choose universities, I just really didn't have any idea of what to do. My parents, they don't speak English, so they didn't have any idea either. So it was just pretty much up to like my school cards list and my teachers. And that similar to Steven, my Mr. Cruz and Mr. Rodriguez, they both helped me out. Like they told me about the U bar, and they were alumni. Mr. Rodriguez was alumni of my fraternity, Phi Iota Alpha, and he told me about the school and about the chapter, and just finding out about the school. I took it was the only school that I went to like actual visited, like with my dad. We took a overnight trip and we stayed in a hotel and we saw the school, and it was really beautiful, and kind of fell in love with it then. And then luckily I got accepted to a HOP, which is a amazing program that New York State offers for students of low income, and for them to go to higher educations. So they basically give me a lot of funding, and so it was a no-brainer to come over to the V O R because it was like the best school that I got into, and the best school. They give me the most money, so so it's a great choice coming over here, and I'm happy about it ever since. I got to meet a lot of wonderful people over my 4 year stay, and then I got to meet a lot of wonderful Latinos from other countries, international students from Africa, South America, Europe, a lot of amazing people that I got to meet. So I'm very glad about that. I'm very thankful.
Oh yeah, I definitely grew out of the people you will meet, amazing. The connections and bonds. I'm smiling just thinking about it. Sorry, guys. um, I will just a big part of the Latino experience is the student organization. So as you see, we all coming from respective student organizations. There's so many, and I'll just talk a few into my respective organizations that I'm a part of. So next slide, please. Yes. So yeah, like I was saying, co-president of Spanish and Latino Students Association, which is SALSA. As you can see in the little top left, SALSA is actually 50 years old this year. We're celebrating our anniversary. But SALSA is meant to be, uh, provide cultural, social, political, educational awareness among our fellow members and enlighten the university community about Spanish and Latino culture. So SALSA's been a space for a whole number of the ethnicities under the just Latino umbrella category or ethnicity. We've had so many people, as you can see, we have a whole group of Mexicans that really love it. We got Hondurans, Salvis, Dominicanos, Puerto Ricans, like so many ethnicities, Paraguayans, Uruguayans, Brazilians, because they be in University of Rochester. Brazilians, they are some fun people to meet. But salsa has always been a place of home for Latinos. You're in a PWI and you're like, where's the people that, understand my culture, understand the ethnicity, but also we can promote and promote that cultural, social, and political educational awareness to other people who are not Latino. That's the kind of place that salsa fosters. When I was just a freshman, the first year, I was like, yo, where's the Latinos at? Where's the people that look like me? And then I found out about salsa and I went, and it was during their Dia de los Muertos event. Dominicans and Puerto Ricans don't celebrate Dias de los Muertos. I don't know anything about it, so I was like, okay, what's this about? And they were just teaching about it, and like, oftentimes Latinidad, we share some similarities. Pone mentol, put Vicks, or um arroz, habichuela, like the regular foods. We share some similarities, but it's really amazing to get to see the other things that people celebrate in the Latinidad like term. There's a lot of things that we share differences about, and I was really interested to hear about it, as well as hearing from people who are very proud to promote their culture. And I even got some chances to be like as a Dominican, like platanos, yo. And then people are like, what's a platano? And I'm like, oh, y'all don't know what a platano is. Let me show you. And then, just show them, cook them some tostones. If, for the people who know about that. So yeah, salsa is just that kind of place to promote our culture. It is our familia, it is our space. And people who don't even identify as Latino or Latina, Latinidad, they still come and they're like, wow, there's so many things different to learn about. There's so many like the Latinos are coming hard in U of R. That's how I feel. But yeah, and just for the pictures, like this is pretty much salsa events we've had in the past. I can get a little bit more into that with the flyers. Next slide, please. hmm Yeah, so some of the events we've had this year, we have like weekly noches, which is something that we have. Some of them would talk about interesting things that's going on with several parts of Latin America, like femicides, femicidios, women in telenovelas, erasure of Afro Latinx culture, and then sometimes we just do some fun things like be proud of who you are. Like if you see the pictures of people with the flags, we also did Mis Banderas, which was just people taking pictures with their flags and really getting to celebrate what the flag means to them and that nationality. And another thing that we have is our biggest event, Tropicana, which is happened last week actually for us. Usually it would be happening during Meliora weekend, which is where all the alumni would come, and it would be like an annual dinner, just celebrating a specific theme. This year's theme was, of course, our 50th anniversary. So we got to do it virtually and be proud of the space that salsa has been continuing to push on for 50 years for Latinos on campus. And yeah, those are some pictures of last year's Tropicana, which how it would be in person. Got some nice performances, got some people there looking nice, looking sharp. So yeah, if you are ever interested to see more about salsa, you can check the Instagram right there in the left corner at UR_salsa. We do have weekly events on Zoom. If you're interested, we don't be afraid to just show your face and see what kind of space salsa has, because we are more than welcome to have anybody who's interested, all the prospective students who really want to know more about the various cultural orgs that you'll probably be a part of. But yeah, that's a little bit about salsa. Next slide, please. And another organization I'm very proud to be of, me and Ariel, both very, we're engineers, and engineering gets hard. As a comp sci major in Ariel's electrical computer engineering, it's also very hard because we are in these spaces where we're just like, oh, it's kind of hard. First gen, we didn't really have the same resources. Oh yeah, Selena, you're an engineer too. I'm not gonna forget you, Selena. Wow, we got some. So yeah, this is the Hispanic professional engineers, and what they usually do is they help on a whole bunch of things. To be honest, like professionalism, your resume, elevator pitches. They have study halls where you would have tutors there who helping you with some hard classes, like bio, chemistry. Like it gets more rough than you think in high school, and it's just another great place to be part of your culture as well as the academics. So we're engineers, we're Latino engineers, we're really pushing it. Oh yeah, Ario, can you talk a little bit about the convention too?
I'll go right ahead and so for CHEP is a national organization. So there's chapters all across the country in almost every university. Uh, and the main things that happens every year during the fall semester is we have a national convention, right? Where literally chapters all across the country come together and they meet, and there's also a career fair where companies, basically almost every big company that you have heard about, comes and starts recruiting for either internships, full-time positions. There's also universities that come, like in case you want to do a master's or you want to do research. They all come together over like a weekend. Basically, we take over whatever city we go to. Last year was over in Phoenix, Arizona. So it was like a lot of Latinidad, a lot of Latinos, a lot of Mexican food. So it's always a lot of fun. We go to different parts of the city. This year was supposed to be in Denver, Colorado, but unfortunately, COVID, Corona didn't happen. Next year, hopefully, it actually happens in person, and next year is supposed to be in Tampa, Florida, if I'm correct. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Chap.
Yes. Thank
Mhm.
you, Ariel. Next slide, please.
Hola, mi gente, ¿cómo están? Como dije ahorita, I'm part of the Puerto Rican Student Organization. I'm the first year class representative. And as a brief summary of what is PRSO and what is the purpose of PRSO is basically to build up a Puerto Rican community to teach others about cultural, social, political aspects of the island. And we also want to encourage undergraduates to know more about the issues that the island is passing through. Y a pesar de que somos una organización puertorriqueña, esto no quiere decir que tienes que ser puertorriqueño para ser parte de la organización. Puede ser latinoamericano en general o puede ser de cualquier otra parte. Nosotros también tenemos miembros que no necesariamente son puertorriqueños y están en PRSO. So yeah, it's a very inclusive club. And I think that it has been a great experience being part of the PRSO because first of all, it has been my first experience, leadership experience as a student here at U of R. Y de verdad que, como decimos los boricuas, ha estado brutal. And although, yeah, we're in the middle of a pandemic, we haven't, no hemos podido hacer todas las actividades que queremos hacer en persona. La mayoría han tenido que ser por Zoom. But like the Zoom activities were amazing. We had a Kahoot trivia with some questions regarding the Puerto Rican culture. And we also had an activity where panelists from the Puerto Rican government were there to had a very interesting conversation with us about political, economic, social aspects of the island. We had so much fun there. We were very informed about everything. And yeah, it was amazing. The next slide will show the poster about it. And yeah, can you go to the previous slide just a second? Yeah. So as I said earlier, the reason why I chose Rochester is because it has like amazing opportunities. But something that I didn't mention is that the community is like, you feel like you're in a family, basically. Like you enter the campus and you feel like you are, like it's your home, like it's your place. And I had the opportunity to visit campus and to go to a tour, to be interviewed. And I instantly felt that community, that family, that support in every step of the way. So I think that it's just amazing. It has been an amazing experience. No es fácil, para nada es fácil, retante, pero se puede. Con mucho esfuerzo y perseverancia siempre se puede. Y, ¿verdad? También, como les he mencionado, soy parte de PRSO, pero también soy parte de RC MERT. En resumidas cuentas, ¿verdad? Lo que es RC MERT es un grupo de estudiantes que se encarga de lo que son todas las emergencias médicas de la universidad. Todo lo que es, ¿verdad? Coger los hospitales, si hay alguna herida de gravedad. Cualquier tipo de emergencia médica dentro del campus, pues nosotros estamos a cargo de eso. Así que para los que estén interesados en estudiar medicina, cualquier ¿verdad? Carrera relacionada a la salud, no tiene que ser relacionada a la salud, puede ser cualquier cosa. Dentro de RC MERT también hay personas que quieren estudiar ingeniería y son parte de MERT. So, ¿verdad? Cualquier persona que esté interesada en ayudar a la comunidad regarding emergency medicine, pues pueden ser parte del club. De verdad que ha sido una experiencia muy buena. Hasta ahora lo que hemos hecho es tomar clases para ser EMT Certified y la realidad es que ha sido una gran experiencia porque a pesar de que es mucho trabajo, la realidad es que estoy aprendiendo muchísimo de lo que es la medicina y, ¿verdad? Dentro de las biología, las químicas, todas las clases que tenemos que tomar, la realidad es que aprender también más sobre la medicina es muy bueno desde primer año, ya ir aprendiendo todo lo que es, ¿verdad? Tomar vitales, ayudar a las personas que estén heridas, etcétera, etcétera. So, de verdad que ha sido una gran experiencia. You can go to next slide. So, aquí está el flyer de una de las actividades, básicamente ha sido la actividad más grande que hemos tenido durante el semestre. It was a Zoom activity, of course, because, yeah, COVID-19. But we had an amazing experience being informed about all the aspects of the Puerto Rican community. And, yeah, we had different people from the Puerto Rican government that were part or still part of it. We had Luis Fortuño, which is the former governor of Puerto Rico. We had Kenneth McClinton, former Secretary of State of Puerto Rico. We had Alejandro Garcia Padilla, which was which is former governor of Puerto Rico, and Roberto Prats, which is a former senator of Puerto Rico. And these are like some pictures of my experience as a first year at U of R with COVID-19. Although we are in the middle of a pandemic, we had the chance to have some activities together. Of course, wearing masks and everything, but we really enjoyed those times. Basically, the first two pictures that you see on the top, we were eating some Puerto Rican food that Joe brought us. So thank you so much, Joe. We had an amazing time sharing that Puerto Rican culture. The food was amazing. I really missed food from home, so I was very happy that we had that day. And yeah, there are some pictures on campus. There's a picture with Joe, of course, in front of the library. And yeah, siempre es parte de la experiencia, los libros y la computadora y el café. Eso es siempre parte de la experiencia de la universidad, pero en resumidas cuentas puedo decir que mi experiencia como first year y en medio de una pandemia ha sido muy buena. Obviamente ha habido momentos de estrés, ha habido momentos de, ¿verdad? Mucha ansiedad por los estudios porque es una transición donde pues no solamente es la transición de la universidad, también es una transición a un new normal, porque pues estamos en el medio de la pandemia, o sea, las cosas cambian, pero la realidad es que ha sido una experiencia muy buena, muchísimas oportunidades, como ya he dicho anteriormente, y de verdad que, como les dije también en un principio, de verdad que encourage you to apply, and if you get accepted to come here. Si tienen alguna duda, alguna pregunta sobre la vida en U of R, nos pueden preguntar a todos nosotros en confianza. De verdad que ha sido una gran experiencia y como todos han mencionado, todos han tenido muy, muy buenas experiencias aquí en U of R. Así que nada, los dejo con el mensaje de que de verdad, apply to U of R. You're not going to regret it, de verdad, para nada. O sea, de verdad lo van a disfrutar y van a estar como que this is the place, this is where I have to be.
Okay, so Salseros stands for Spanish and Latino students expressing rhythm on stage. Sorry, guys. So the purpose of Salseros is to provide cultural and social expression through the art of dance among our fellow community members and to educate the university community about Spanish and Latino culture. So obviously you don't have to be, Latino or anything to join Salseros. We have people from like all around the world that join our club, and you don't have to know how to dance. Trust me, when I came in as a freshman, I really did not know how to dance. Like I knew like a little bit of cumbia, but like I'm Mexican, we don't do salsa at all, like none of that. So I was like very, very lost when I first came in and like started coming to Salseros. But they like everyone was so friendly, everyone was so helpful, and it took me a while to get the hang of it, but I kept with it, and eventually I got the steps, and everyone was so nice and would always ask me to dance with them and everything. Obviously this was before COVID, but yeah, it was like a really great experience for me coming in as a freshman to find a group that where I could learn something and like be active and like participate in like very easily. So yeah, if you want to like play the video, yeah, we could just watch this for a sec. Sorry, I think you have to share the audio too. Sorry guys, we're having some tech issues, but you guys can still enjoy the video. The sound is just like, it's just a song. Yeah, so that video was from one of our main events is our spring show, and it's called Sabrosura, and each year we have a different theme. So that year was Sabrosura Vivir Mi Vida. Yeah, and so this year, unfortunately, we haven't been able to perform yet, but we're looking to do like some innovative performances where we pre-record it, or like we go live and we just do it, without an audience. But either way, we're still like having a lot of fun. And I think you could go to the next slide to see some more. Yeah, so despite COVID, we still have been a very active club. We have our weekly lessons, which we call the So Nasty lessons, SNLs, and we still have been able to, take part in those lessons where we teach people like bachata, salsa, merengue basics. And as you can see, like in the little video that we'll play later, there's like a tent that they've put up where we can socially distance and like wear masks and still like participate in in-person events, which has been really great for our club because Zoom fatigue is a thing. And as great as like it is to still be able to have meetings over Zoom, it's really nice for me especially to just go in person and be able to see people. Even if you have to be socially distant, it's still nice to be able to take part in in-person events even now. So yeah, that's some pictures of some of our flyers that we've had. We also have an event in the fall called Bailamos, which is coming up, where we also it's just like a formal night of like dancing. And this year, of course, it cannot be like social dancing, but we are like, we're partnering up with another organization and just like teaching people different dances. So in a usual year, we'll have performances on and off campus. This year, like I've mentioned, we haven't been able to have performances, like in-person performances, but we've still been practicing and we'll be ready for whenever COVID is a little lessened and we can start performances up again. And yeah, so we just have like a lot of fun in Rochester with the Rochester Latin dance community. Before COVID, we would go out like pretty much every week or every other week. We would meet up at someone's dorm, and then afterwards we would go to like different places that would host Latin nights where they have like Latin music and you can dance with people from the community and people from salseros, like anybody who's there. Lots of times they would have live bands too, which is really cool. So if you're like feeling like you're missing a piece of home and you want some good Latin music and Latin dancing, that was a really fun for me to do. Yeah, and yeah, it's just a really fun club that I've been a part of since my freshman year, and I've loved. It really does feel like a familia. Everyone's very nice. So we used to like get together and cook together. Cook some like traditional food. Go out and like dance together, meet up and practice before performances. It's really fun. If you guys are thinking about joining, you definitely should. We still have events, even though with COVID. If you want to follow our Instagram, it's UR_Salceros. And there you can see our Zoom link if you want to try and see what we're about through Zoom and like see some of our past videos of how we're operating during COVID and all that. But yeah, it's really great opportunity, and we get to co-sponsor with like a lot of other organizations, perform at other like organization events, and yeah, just have fun. It really was like for me when I started a really good de-stressor. After classes and labs and exams, I just wanted to dance, and Salceros was the place where I could do that at, and it just became my family. And yeah, we have another video of our like current COVID situation, how we dance. Yeah, so as you can see, we all wear masks and are socially distant, but we're still having fun. And the weather has been nice here so far, but as it gets colder, we'll move to inside and more Zoom lessons. But for now, we're like having fun and being active and seeing each other in person for now. So yeah, that's all I had to say about Salceros. I guess we can move on to the next slide.
All right, Phi Iota Alpha fraternity incorporated. Uh, well, let's start. For me, I joined Phi Iota Alpha this last semester, spring 20, with my LB. That you can see in the picture, right? There's two people. With my line brother. So basically, Phi Iota Alpha is a Latino fraternity, is the oldest fraternity in the nation, established December 26, 1931. So our purpose is to basically promote and expand Latino culture, and basically our fraternity is founding on the values of Pan-Americanism, which basically comes from, like, if you guys know about Simon Bolivar and his mission of uniting all Latin American countries, is basically a way for young men, young gentlemen to come together, and who believe in this ideal of seeing Latino unity and Latinos coming together in order to benefit our community. Is a place for men like that to come together and establish a network, basically, and help each other out with different goals and whatever they want to achieve, basically, here as students, as undergrads, and later on in the professional life. Because for us, one thing that's very different from other fraternities, other like mainstream fraternities that you will see, is that when you join, you basically, it's a long life commitment, basic. So once you join, it doesn't stop just be at when you graduate. We have a lot of brothers that they have been graduating for 10, 5, 20 years, and they're still active within the chapter and within the fraternity. Because basically, for us, you join if you really believe in with our values and are able to stand up for those values and represent those values. And when you join, that is for life. It's not something that stops just when you graduate. For me, I decided to join basically when you come to an IPC, a majority white institution. You want to find your own home, you want to find your own familia. And within the brothers of my fraternity, I found my familia, I found people who would accept me for who I am and weren't going to judge me for what I wanted to do or the way I was. And but at the same time, I found people who would always like push me to be stronger and push me to be better, and would uphold me when I made mistakes or when I was being lazy or when I didn't want to like just carry on with my college. I found people that were able to support me with through all that, and most of them are people who have also come from similar backgrounds. From, they're immigrants, their parents are immigrants, they're first generation students, but at the same times we have brothers that uh, are from different backgrounds. My own brother, he's an international student. He's from Mexico. He's half Mexican, half Chinese. So it's not just a Latino fraternity. You don't have to be fraternity to join or to be interested in it. You can just look up our values and see if that's something that interests to you, the idea of Pan-Americanism and Latino culture and that sort of thing. But yeah, for anybody that's interested, please just come visit our Instagram page. We have different activities going on right now. It's hard because of COVID. We can't have in-person events. We usually have a lot of community service that we do throughout the year. We do community service. We do fundraisings. This year, we're going to fundraise $250 for NHI, which is the National Hispanic Institute. Basically, they give out grants for young Latino people to go to college and continue on their education. Basically, that's a philanthropy for the year. But yeah, so just keep in touch either to our Instagram, or I'm also gonna plug my Instagram there, so anybody can hit me up about anything, either Phi A fraternity related, UFR related, or just most electrical and computer engineering. You can hit me up about that. But that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you. Something else to iterate is that not only is there Latino fraternities, but there's also Latina sororities. That is also a part of. We have multicultural Greek Council, which is a whole bunch of the cultural identity-based Greek life. So Fiota is one of them, but we also have a plethora of other fraternities and sororities that based on, if they Black fraternity sororities, Latino Latina sororities fraternities, Asian sororities fraternities. Like there's a whole plethora of them in the multicultural Greek Council. So not only don't if for my Latinas out there, it's just like I want to know my Greek life, but I don't want I can't be feel like don't worry. There's definitely look into that into MGC if you are interested in still retaining your culture, but also being a part of Greek life. And we do have some time, as Joe said in the chat. Now is just times for you guys to access anything. If you have questions to us, please use the Q&A feature on the bottom next to chat, and we would love to answer any questions any burning questions you have about you or about our experience. Like it's a lot you can ask about. Mhm. Okay, we have one from Anna. Do you feel within the Latin community on campus there's a strong desire to connect with other Latinx students, be supportive of their success, empowering and encouraging one another to excel? Do you network with other non-Latino students in clubs? I can start that, and if anybody else wants to answer after me, then yeah, go ahead. Definitely. So growing up, my culture is one of the biggest things about me. New York City is uh it's a cultural pot. Like it's melting pot of so many different ethnicities and identities, and of course Latino is such a broad umbrella term of a whole bunch of those ethnicities. So when coming to U of R, since I've had that experience of wanting to be in tune with my culture and still meet people who identify as Latinx, that was definitely a big thing. So that's where I came and looked for the clubs. It's really more of like, in my opinion, it's more if that's something that you strongly want to. But definitely you network with a whole bunch of other non-Latino students. Of course, you get to meet, like Ariel has said, you get to meet internationals from different places. So there's like South America, well, not only South America, but the international African students, international European students, as well as just people from different walks of life in America. You never really know who you meet in University of Rochester, and you will meet them in not only the cultural orgs that you are a part of, but even if there's other organizations that you're a part of, like your major, there's also clubs for that, like there's computer science undergraduate council. You'll meet a whole bunch of different people there. Elizabeth is part of MERT, which she meets a whole bunch of different people there. Like you never really know who you meet. It's not always going to be Latinx, and that's really the fun part about U of R. Mhm. If somebody else wants to go ahead and answer that, sure. Okay, I will continue on to the next one. Oh, Adio, you want to say something?
I mean, yeah, I was just gonna go agree with you that there is a very strong Latino community here on campus, where we all kind of like talk to each other either through salsa or through other clubs. We kind of all know about each other through one way or another. So usually we kind of just come together for big events. But right now that's not very possible because of COVID. But hopefully in the future, we get to see more of each other.
Thank you. And I think we kind of answered onto our friend groups usually diverse of U of R. Like, of course, like it depends what you think about diverse. Like if we're thinking about just cultural ethnicity, of course, but if we're thinking about just hometowns, even like we're all Latino here, but we all come from different walks of life. Like Ariel come from New York City, but he's Ecuadorian. I'm Dominican Puerto Rican, so we already diverse there. And Selena comes from Nashville, and she's Mexican. I'm Dominican Puerto Rican. We're different there. And Elizabeth, she's from the island. I'm not even from the island. I've been to the island a couple of times, but see, like even then, like that's just diverse right there in that aspect. But of course, you will, like I said, you meet different people, different walks of life, and they really stick with you as friends, like even past University of Rochester. I often tell us that often they're tight with their people. They're really close. When you enter U of R, you meet people and you leave U of R with a network of friend groups. So I think that's something really strong that University of Rochester caters towards is alumni group and how the sense of togetherness the alumni have with each other. So I hope that answers your question. But if anybody else wants to say more about diverse friend groups.
Yeah, I can go ahead. I remember. So for your second year, right, you get the option of where to live, right, and one of the options is like a 7-person suite, right. So from my friend group, we had literally, it was me, an Ecuadorian, one Mexican friend, one Jamaican friend, one Chinese friend, then also one of our South African, and one Guyanian friend, and then who was the last? Was it 6 or 7? I don't know, but yeah, it's basically every person in that suite was from a different country. So like we was and literally none of us were born in the United States. So we were like all immigrants from different countries and different regions and different continents. So yeah, your friends group here can be very diverse because there's a lot of very diverse and interesting people at the real bar.
Yeah. And the next question we have, if anybody wants to go ahead, continue on to that. Okay. Okay, I'll answer the next question. Do you feel like there is diversity in your everyday classes? Uh, um, I will say that um, definitely engineering school is going to be, if you're an engineer, it's going to be, that's my experience, is going to be a little bit rough. Like I said, PWI, if this the your culture is something really strong a part of you, then you definitely want to be around people that resonate with you, that feels the same way as you. So it gets kind of tough sometimes. That's why you have to have those strong connections with people that you are culturally tight with, if or at least just friends and stuff like that. So computer science in my field, I feel like there's not enough people that look like me, not enough people I can connect to. But that's just the experience of a PWI. um it gets different with the other fields majors, but I can tell you that computer science, it definitely is rough in that aspect. Yeah. If anybody else wants to go and answer some more about that, go ahead.
Yeah, so obviously it's it's hard because like I'm a female in STEM, in engineering. Um a lot of my classes, you look around and you see people who don't look like you, but that's why these organizations at U of R exist, because like through SHEP I was able to like find other people who were like maybe not in my same major, maybe not in my same year, but like had like taken like the same classes, had the same professor, had the same experiences that I have, and that could help me through it. Like even though there wasn't that many Hispanic people in my BME classes, there was like a BME student like a year older than me who was Dominican, and I was like, oh hey, like, we're doing this together. And organizations like SHEP especially help a lot. There's also like, you could form study groups with people, and just like, if you if it's hard to see diversity in your classes, just know that like we're here and like we're doing this. And it's up to us to like continue to like have more diverse classes. You guys are the next people coming in to like help your classes look more diverse.
Yeah. yeah, I will. That was a. I definitely resonate with Shep. Like, helped me a lot with that. Oh my gosh. um. We have another question. As I heard from the panel, some of you are first generation students of the U of R. How are you being supportive for yourself and families coming from a different state/region? If anybody wants to take this first, go ahead. I don't always have to answer first. Mhm.
Wait, I don't I don't understand the question. What do you mean how you being supportive yourself? I don't know if
Mm, mhm.
I
I
would
th-
hate to, I was gonna say, I would hate to assume, but could the question be, how are you being supported? Um, Yourself and maybe your family? Are we looking at the support groups that are available, or the support services available to campus, and then also how are you supporting your family as you are away?
I guess yeah. I mean for me, my family's in New York City. I'm a first generation student, but I get a lot of support from here at the university, either from OMSA. There's also currents. OMSA is the Office of Student Minority Affairs, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, basically, yeah, they're very supportive. You can always meet with them. There's always somebody you can meet with at any time if you want to. If you need somebody to talk to, either through OMSA or Currents, that's another basically department here on campus that helps students. Basically, they just want to help students, basically. And from that, there's also care. If you ever feel that you need like some emotional support or that you're feeling down. I know for first generation students that's just something that happens, right? Like sometimes we get imposter syndrome. We feel like they're coming to such a privileged school where there's people here who are sons of billionaires and millionaires, and we're out here as first generation students just trying to get by in the world. So sometimes you might feel like a little bit depressed or a little bit under the move, but I feel like there's always a community here to support you when that happens, either from your friends or from the school itself. uh yeah, that's about it.
I'll get a little bit into what Kearns and the Office of Minority Student Affairs do. They definitely, oftentimes you have to, if you have to take summer classes and you have to pay to stay on campus or pay for those summer classes as well, they help you with that. I know Kearns, and I'm pretty sure Kearns, they also offer book lending. So if you don't have enough money to pay for your textbooks, they have a whole storage of the textbooks you usually would need for the classes that you're taking, and they would offer you and lend you that book for the semester. They also like Kearns Center is really, Kearns and OMSA is really the places for academic support when it comes to first generation students. They are amazing people. They definitely understand. They give you advising as well in not just academics, but even all parts of your U of R career. Those are the kinds of systems there's in place there for first gen students. There's also a club called First Gen Society. There's always a club of everything. But yeah, if anybody else is interested in answering that, I hope that answers your question, Gael. Mhm, mhm. Okay. We have a really great question. Do the Latinx organizations help Latin American countries through different events? I can say so. Salsa's over the years we've done many drives, many food drives or donations, gathering fundraisers, I should say, fundraisers and drives, gathering money in support of the Latin American countries. Right now, and a huge important one is, pray for Honduras. Honduras have been hit really hard by Hurricane Eta, and we've been trying to gather our resources, even just from virtually, and to support those Latin American countries that are really going through it. Not only just stuff like, not only is it just natural disasters, but it's also kind of thought process, because there's always things that's going on, like femicidios, that we have to educate our members on, and a lot of the political issues that we were going about. So yeah, we do have fundraisers, we do have food drives that we've done in the past. It's kind of more tricky right now, but we're still trying to help the Latin American countries, because a lot of us come from those places or just resonate with those identities, and it's very important to give back our homeland. Hmm. Hmm. Anybody? Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things. I think that's more like what salsa does in terms of outside support for the the Latin American countries. I'm pretty sure Fiota, they got brothers all around. I think Adia wants to speak about that.
we do have international students within the organization who are like my LB is just straight up Mexican. He's he's an international student. So we have a lot of connections to South America and Latin America. I know often we have brothers that go to Latin America, to Bolivia, Peru, and help out in different activities and different helping students in small remote villages and stuff like that. I know also one of our philanthropies is UNICEF. So we always raising money for UNICEF, either through different events that we do and just straight up raising money, and or also food drives, that type of things. But yeah, oh, and then there's also, I want to mention, there's also the club Students Helping Honduras. Isn't that? Yeah, yeah, there's students helping Honduras on campus. That's their main mission, is to basically they gather money for the year, and then they all of them just go to Honduras and help out in different projects for different communities. There's also Engineers Without Borders, who they also take up different engineering goals, gather money, and then they go to the different Latin American countries. I know last year they either went to, I think they went to DR in order to help out with some water filtration system last year. So yeah, there's always different ways on campus if you want to connect and you want to actually help out, give your help to different organizations and help back home in Latin America. There's always ways of doing it.
Yes, thank you, Adio. For I like Students Helping Honduras and Engineers Without Borders are really great organizations. So they do that, like they really do. I completely went over my head, but thank you, Adio, for that. Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Kiana. Oof, uh-oh, girl. The next question. What is like to live in Rochester? Does anybody wants to answer that one before I go? Yeah, Elizabeth.
As a first year, I would say that it has been a very interesting experience, especially with the weather. That's a great factor when you're living in Rochester, because when I got here, it was like sunny and everything, and then 2 weeks later it was like extremely cold, and then it got hot again, and it was like all over the place. But I think that you get used to it. Like, okay, I get outside and it's not cold, then I'm not gonna wear a sweater or vice versa. So I think that you get used to it. But like the city is nice. I would say that it's a nice city. But I think that the most interesting thing, as I said earlier, is the weather. El clima está brutal, literal.
Yes, it's rough. For those who are like who are like in the islands right now, like appreciate that weather, because when you go to Rochester, it's gonna be rough. As well as people who are just like not even like in more warmer places. Um, it's the Rochester snow is serious. Get like 8 inches of snow in one day, and it's just like, oh, still got to go to class, still got to walk. um yeah, it's kind of brutal. It's just kind of really cold. I like the cold, but not everybody can sustain it. I think Audio is going to say something.
Yeah, as a person, like, I was even coming from New York City, I was a little bit surprised by how cold it can get. Uh, but you get used to it after a little while, and I feel like it's rougher once as a freshman. Um, you because once you start like getting your own like groups of friends, you can like basically just hang out inside with them. So like there's always places just to hang out inside. At least in the future there will be. So there's always activities even to do outside of Rochester. Like I know if you're the kind of person that likes hiking and outdoors activities, that is a very big thing here in Rochester. Again, we also have a club for outdoor activities. If you want to go hiking or skiing or any type of that thing, so snowball fights, anything of that sort you can do.
Yeah, definitely the weather's a big shock. You need a coat, you need snow boots. I'd never had that before coming here. But yeah, it doesn't stop us at all. Like I said, before COVID, Salceros would go out pretty much every week. There was something to do out in the Rochester community. You can find things to do. There's different places downtown where we used to dance. There used to be a place like literally 5 minutes from the university where we would just walk, and it was a coffee shop during the day, and on the weekend it would turn into like a Latin dance club, and we would go there, like every week. There's definitely a lot of stuff to do in the city. I know as a first year student, it could be hard. It could be, you can find yourself stuck in a bubble at U of R, but definitely like if you can try and like branch out, explore the Rochester city because it's very beautiful. There's a lot of history and there's a lot of like fun places that you could go and do stuff. Yeah, hopefully after COVID.
Yes, so I hope that answers your question, Anna. The next question: how would you describe the relationship of the Latino community with other communities at University of Rochester? Yeah, so salsa. I can say this from like the salsa aspect. So salsa is part of this big culmination of a minority students advisory board, and in that advisory board is all the other cultural organizations like Black Students Union, Students for Caribbean Awareness, Pan African Students Association, and through there we always have co-sponsorships. We always have events together that we just have a good time, talk about the different similarities of topics that we can talk about. Um, I'll say like the Latino community is really tight knit with the at least the Black community on campus because of how close Salsa and BSU are. And maybe not everybody will get to have that experience. It really is a to each of their own kind of situation because not everybody gets to have those kinds of same experiences. But I will say that like that it's there. It's definitely there. We do have those systems set up where we are close with other communities. We get to understand other communities. Salceros is very diverse in their community of who people that aren't even Latino there. So that like they're yeah, I think Selena, you can talk more about that before I talk about that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of Latinos in Salceros, but there's also a lot of like non-Latinos, international students, a lot of other students in Salceros. And also like we also perform and like teach lessons with other groups that, have nothing to do with like Latino culture. Like this semester we're doing a co-sponsorship with Celtic, the Irish step dance group, and like we seem to have like nothing in common, right? But like we both love dance, and that's the important part, in Salceros. So definitely, whatever community you're in, you'll definitely get like a little bits and pieces of other communities if you want to.
Yeah, it's like um the student organizations are really a great way to understanding other communities. So even if you're in tune of just your community and your culture, you get to attend the other communities and other cultures that other clubs on campus foster, because oftentimes we're just like, let's do something together. And then we do it and then people are like, wow, this is amazing. Like I didn't know about this culture and community. And yeah, like I said, BSU, Salsa, Soca, Pasa, like we all have interesting stuff we're doing. I'm gonna throw this one at Adiel because like even the MGCs do stuff together. So Adiel, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, U of R is just like comparatively, it's a medium to smaller size school, right? So a lot of the communities here they all kind of know each other, and we're always willing to help each other out, have different co-sponsorships. I know for the MGCs, for the minority fraternity sororities, we're always helping each other out. We're always having events together. We're a very close community. We pretty much all know each other. We're always planning things, and we're always there supporting each other because I think that's a very important thing as minorities is to come out and support each other when we need to. And yeah, I think pretty much that. And then personally, I'm friends with a lot of other people aside from Latinos. I have a lot of friends within PASA, international African students, international Latinos, international Latino students, and I'm friends with, like, international Asians, Nepalians, Indians, Chinese students. It's just like you get to meet a lot of people in the school. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
Mhm. Thank you. I hope that answers your question, Eduardo. Um, the next question we have is how approachable are the staff, faculty, etc., at the University of Rochester? And if anybody else wants to go ahead, go ahead. I'll say that the staff and faculty, like again, the staff and faculty are also from different walks of life, so you get to connect with them on whatever it is you connect about. They're pretty approachable. I like you can see like in the picture, Elizabeth and Joe are like this, like, so yeah, like you can talk to um you can talk to them, you can come up to them, you can just make that conversation, and they'll help you out with anything that you need help with, whether that be recommendation letters for grad school or even just advice for academics. They're the faculty and staff are there. Like they've definitely there's definitely people that I can think in my head that has fostered a better place for me at U of R while being in those positions as a staff and faculty. Yeah, Elizabeth, you could go ahead.
I think that also regarding COVID-19, like we have like, for example, I have some classes that are asynchronous, which means that like you watch the lectures later, you don't have to like to actually go to a lecture in person or like, live lecture. And sometimes maybe you can feel that you don't have that connection with the professors, but actually you also have office hours, you also have their emails, you can approach to them. You can also approach your TAs that they can also help you with labs, with the class per se. So although we are in the middle of a pandemic, you also have those opportunities to communicate with your professors and ask them questions as needed. So yeah, I think that we have those opportunities. So sometimes we can feel that, I don't know much about this professor. I don't know if I can ask him or her questions. But you can actually do that. There are opportunities for that. So yeah, so my advice is use the office hours, use like the email, and just ask questions as needed.
Yeah, and I accidentally clicked on Anna's answer, so I'll just get into. I clicked on it and questioned it live, but I'll touch into that one. The next question is: do you participate in activities/events or do anything outside of campus pre-COVID? Anything now during this time? Like Selena just kind of left, but I will say that things that she's done that I've seen. There's ice skating rinks that people go to. Adiel said like there's places you can go hike. You don't really necessarily need like clubs for that. There's diners like Joe's Diner is a big place that people go to and just have fun there. Rochester is a beautiful place, as we said. Even just like walking, there's a bridge, and when you walk in that bridge, there's like a plethora of things to do there. There was the Brew Cafe, which was the coffee shop right there that people love to go to. Yeah, there's many things there. Many things in Rochester. It's really just you just got to do the research and you just got to ask people what to do. Like, but anything now for this time, if anybody wants to answer that, I'm not even on campus.
I mean, yeah, there's always like things to do. Like there's still a lot of restaurants opens, like Steven said. There's a lot of hiking you can go. Niagara Falls is like a 30-minute drive, like an hour drive. I don't know, something like that. But about that, yeah, like having a car is helpful if you want to do things. The reality, because I mean, Rochester is more like a car city, not like New York City, where it just is like the train system. So on that perspective, if you have a car, it's very useful. But if you don't, just get a friend with a car. That's what I do. I don't even know how to drive, so I just get people to drive me around. You already know.
And I definitely want to touch into the first question I kind of skipped from Carolina. Since there are so many Latinx organizations, how did you choose between them? Do you recommend participating more than one? Um, there's no competition here, guys. um like I said, like, of course, there's so many things, so many codes, so many orgs, and there's no push for one of them, because no matter what you do, you're always still going to, you can attend. It's not like a time commitment that you have to go. You can go to salsa one night, and then the next week you can do the stuff that PRSO is doing on the next day, or like it's not really that hard to do. It's not really, it's easier to like manage it and just go to different spaces, different organizations that you're interested in. Like I said, like we tend to do stuff together most of the time. I know PRSO and Salceros had a night together, like a dancing night last week, if I'm correct, Elizabeth. It was during Halloween, right? Yeah, they had a Halloween
Yeah.
dance night. Yeah, like, no matter, even if you're just in salsa, you're still going to be, or just PRSO or salseros or fiota, you're still going to get um a taste of the other org, because we always get to do co-sponsorships with each other. We always get to do nice stuff with each other, and it's important to just like foster that relationship with all the organizations. um I hope that answers your question, Carolina. um if anybody else wants to go and touch into more about how do you choose between them. I can say choosing between them, I just like salsa, because it's just like, yeah, I really want to know about all the I am not part of in the Latino umbrella, and help people know more about Dominican Puerto Rican culture is how I felt. Mhm. But we are running out of time. We're at the last minute, so I will pass it to Joe. Unfortunately, we have some more questions that we couldn't answer, but don't worry, we will be answering them in email. So go ahead, Joe. Take it away.
All right. So, muchas gracias, Stephen, Elizabeth, Ariel, and Selena. Shana, also thank you for your behind the scenes support. Um, Students, this is, an amazing opportunity for you to learn about the University of Rochester experience from our current students. There are additional events taking place for MVP. If you click on that link, you're going to want to see the inventory of additional opportunities to understand how we foster an inclusive, accessible, and diverse community for all. So we are running out of time. So if Elizabeth, Stephen, and Ariel and Selena want to add your links, your email addresses to the chat feature, there are some outstanding questions and we want to get those answered. So we've got Anna and Kati who have questions that need to get answered. So please put your emails address in there, and Anna and Kati, you are encouraged to reach out to all of our students, some of our students who've presented, to get the answer to your question. So we apologize for running out of time. We want to be respectful of our schedules. Zoom fatigue is real. And so on behalf of our students, the University of Rochester community, we wish all a very safe and healthy afternoon and remainder of your weekend. Shana, we can add our contact information as well if folks have questions about the admissions, financial aid, and scholarship processes. Shana and I are in a position to answer your questions. So all of you are welcome. Muchas gracias otra vez a todos. And thank you. Good afternoon and take care. Be safe. Okay. Cuídense. Ciao.
Nos
Bye-bye,
vemos.
everyone.